Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is Jones. Report is for the 15th. Well, we had our nice little run up. We had the positive extreme, so we expected that to get filled back in. Got a little bit of softness here once we had the orange spike. Steel fades. There goes the cyan, and that gave us a little bit of softness. And once we broke below 76, there wasn't anything. Take it down to the 61, and likewise, we're looking for that low fill of the 34.64 range. And it happened. Also coincided with the breaking news of Joe Biden in the email. So that, again, throws a little uncertainty. And again, the market, it's not necessarily, well, some people claim they're picking a favorite, but what they're looking for is certitude. Just knowing one way or another. They can make any side work for them. They've done it for decades. So that's not really the issue as much as just knowing. And they like to know. So we go with where the money goes. Of course, we had positive extremes from the NASDAQ going all the way to 11,687. So this one still has a little more room to dip. So I would expect that the S&P, since it's been pretty much trailing what the NASDAQ does, to follow along. So I would look for a continuation, a little bit weaker on the S&P until the NASDAQ gets that fill. So from a Euro standpoint, again, there's just nothing happening that's exciting from a European standpoint. So it's no shock that that's right in that range. And it's still outside the range, so it's still overvalued. And from a gold standpoint, not happening yet. This is just where things are at until we get some kind of resolution with where the virus situation or the vaccines, any of those things, to clarify normality. And so from an intraday standpoint, we had some pretty decent ranges, but the weakness just started growing. And it's for me, I could put this one up. I love it when I look at the Power Mo from a 50K standpoint. When it gets into its sell mode after a pretty good sized run, oftentimes there'll be a second little pop, and I sometimes would say, the Power Mo got it a little early. It's like, no, because eventually what usually happens is that pop doesn't make it, and then you get the decline, and it's, you can see that back in history. It's replete on the Power Mo 2, and it's pretty effective that way. And so what we ended up with is where we ended up with some of our dotted green lines here on the algo long and short test. Decent start outs from a buy configuration, but then they start to break down where you get the steel cross below, orange, you've got green under, red failing, and you're moving towards negative shakeout. And it pretty much happens exactly at the same break even, just slightly below point. This is something that I'm converting into the Deal Company 2 so that it will capture that full red reading. Even though you can see that weakness as it started to go, the Power Mo 2 had already been below the 13 line, so it really didn't have its strength built in there, and that just continued to cascade, and we had to fill the positive extremes from before. So this was not unexpected in my view. As we came across, we'll wait to get to today's, but we based, it really wasn't all that attractive. Every time we got to a peak, we were off of no steel reset. So we don't get the steel reset till right here, and that's where I become interested to say, okay, if I find something that's turning around, worth taking at that particular point, and it comes in later simply because of the slowest response. You had the Power Mo 2 cross here, so that was your earliest response, but you kind of had muck. What you had was just the rising red. You didn't get any of those clean delineation lines until you really get right over here where the steel spikes up, and that's what really gave it the boost that took it to the final 100% marker. But as soon as that happens, though, you end up with the breakdown DOC spread that takes place right there. Steel isn't able to cross above from a buy standpoint, and so while it held across going through with that magenta candle, once that steel is unable to make it, orange cross above, and that led to what began the decline that is, well, currently into this current setup as we're speaking right now, breaking down right through here. If we look at the alternative, which is, this is the Power 2, and what it's really turning green at just spots where there would be an equivalent buy, but again, we have this soft breakdown on the DOC spread where you do get that steel breaking below and the orange spiking above. At the same time, you have the red crossover moving into the negative shakeout. So these are little adjustments that, as I find these specific scenarios, just writing into the code there, I mark them down and go through to prepare to fill them in, and that will just turn this all to a nice chasm of red going all the way. But our basing right now, and do have a bit of a turnaround from a Power Mode 2 standpoint. Got the cross taking place right now. Shakeouts improved above the negative 13 range. Is it enough to get it going? You got to get above that 23% before you really get excited. But you're right back to this 3450. So these lines we've had from way back, still coming back to resurface, same as usual. So all in all, good stuff though. As always, anything unique or relevant, I will certainly put on the Skype chat. Trade well.